Hello, this is Dr. Vishesh Srivastava. In this video, I am going to talk about Arduino, a popular and versatile platform for electronic enthusiasts and makers. Arduino is not a company, a printed circuit board, a microcontroller, or programming language. Even it is not an integrated circuit. Then, what is the Arduino? Let's find out. Arduino is basically an open source platform based on easy to use hardware and software. Arduino consists of both a physical programmable circuit board and a piece of software or IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment that runs on your computer, used to write and upload computer codes to the physical board. The Arduino can read inputs from sensors, buttons, switches, and other devices and turn them into outputs such as LEDs, motors, speakers, and displays. You can tell your board what to do by using the Arduino programming language, which is based on C, C++, and the Arduino software, which is based on processing. The Arduino was born at the Iberia Interaction Design Institute as an easy tool for fast prototyping. It aimed at students without a background in electronics and programming. This is the team who had built the Arduino for us. The question is, why to use Arduino? Why we are using Arduino? But before that, we need to understand Arduino is a great way to learn about electronics, programming, and robotics, as well as to create interactive projects that can sense and control the physical world. Arduino is also a community of millions of users who share their ideas, codes, and projects online. You can find tutorials, examples, libraries, and forums on the Arduino website and other online platforms. But the question again comes is, why should you use Arduino for your projects? Here are some reasons. Arduino is inexpensive. You can get an Arduino board for as low as $10, and most of the components and sensors are also very affordable. You can also build your own Arduino compatible board using off-the-shelf parts or the kits. It is a cross-platform hardware. Arduino is easy to use. You don't need to have any prior knowledge of electronics or programming to get started with Arduino. The Arduino software provides a simple and intuitive interface to write and upload your code. And the Arduino language is very similar to English. You can also use existing codes and libraries from other users to simplify your project. As I'm telling you, it is a flexible. Arduino is flexible. You can choose from a variety of Arduino boards, each with different features and compatibilities. You can also extend the functionality of your board by using shields, modules, and accessories that plug into the board. You can also connect your Arduino to other devices such as computers, smartphones, and the internet using various communication protocols and methods. Using Arduino is a fun. You can use Arduino to make anything you can imagine, from robots and games to musical instruments and art installations. You can also experiment with different sensors, actuators, and components and see how they interact with each other and the environment. You can also collaborate with the other Arduino users and join the global market movement. These are some points that we need to remember why we are using the Arduino. Now coming next. Now you know what Arduino is and why you should use it. Let's take a look at the hardware structure of Arduino board. An Arduino board consists of the following parts. The microcontroller that is used in Arduino board is ATmega328P. It is an AVR 8-bit RISC processor with 20 megahertz clock frequency. It has a flash memory of 30 KB and the static RAM of 1 KB. The Arduino also comes with 3 timers or counters. It is giving us 20 programmable input output pins. You can see the pin diagram structure of 80 mega 328 ports. From the diagram, we can see here that there are 4 different ports with n number of pins available to us. These pins are input output pins which can be used by the user to perform a variety of tasks. We will talk more about the hardware structure of Arduino. The Arduino has different parts. As you can see on the screen that there are approximately 17 different heads which we have mentioned. We are going to talk about all these heads one by one. Number 11, that is the main microcontroller of Arduino. First, we'll talk about this. A microcontroller, which is the brain of the board. It executes the code that you upload to the board and controls the input and outputs. Arduino boards use different type of microcontrollers such as the 80 mega 328P SAMD21 or the RP2040 depending on the board model and the features. So this is the main board which is used in Arduino Uno and that processes all our instructions given to the Arduino. Coming to the next, the Arduino comes with a USB connector which is used to connect the board to your computer and to power the board. You can also use the USB connector to communicate with the board and to send and receive the data. Some Arduino boards use a USB type B connector while others use a USB type C or a micro USB connector. The next is the power jack, which is used to power the board from an external source such as a battery or an adapter. The power jack can accept voltages from 7 to 12 volts and has a built-in voltage regulator that converts the input voltage to 5 volt, which is the operating voltage of the board. Some Arduino boards do not have a power jack and can only be powered from the USB connector or the V input pin. The next is the reset button, which is used to restart the board and the code execution. You can press the reset button to reset the board manually or use the reset pin to reset the board programmatically. Coming to the next, that is ICP Header. This ICP Header stands for In-Circuit Serial Programming. It is used to program the microcontroller directly without using a bootloader. The bootloader is a small program that runs on the microcontroller and allows you to upload your code from the Arduino software using the USB connector. The ICP header can also be used to program other devices such as shields or modules that use the same protocol. It has a set of digital pins which are used to read and write the digital signals such as high or low or 0 or 1. The digital pins can also be used for other functions such as pulse width modulation, serial communication, interrupts, and serial peripheral interface. The number of functions of the digital pins vary depending on the board model and the microcontroller. For example, the Arduino Uno has 14 digital pins, while the Arduino Mega has 54 digital pins. So, depending upon the board model, the pin varies. As per our requirement, we can use different board models. The Arduino has a set of pins which are used. The Arduino has set of digital pins which are used to read and write digital signals. The Arduino has the analog pins too, which are used to read and write analog signals, such as voltages from 0 volt to plus 5 volt. The analog pins can also be used as digital pins if needed. The number of resolution of the analog pins vary depending on the board models and the microcontroller. For example, the Arduino Uno has 6 analog pins with a 10-bit resolution, while the Arduino Duo has 12 analog pins with a 12-bit resolution. There are the basic part of Arduino board, but there are also further parts and components that may be present on some boards such as LEDs, buttons, switches, crystals, regulators, capacitors, resistors, and so on. You can find more information about the specific parts and symmetrics of each board on the Arduino website and the documentation. There are a few more things that we need to talk, and those are the voltage regulators. The function of the voltage regulator is to control the voltage given to the Arduino board and stabilize the DC voltage used by the processor and other elements. The crystal oscillator. The crystal oscillator helps Arduino in dealing with time issues. How does Arduino calculate time? The answer is by using the crystal oscillator. Apart from this, the Arduino comes with different parts like the power LED indicators. This LED should light up when you plug your Arduino into a power source to indicate that your board is powered up correctly. If this light does not turn on, then there is something wrong with the connection. You need to check your Arduino power connection, whether it is working fine or not. This is only the way through which you can come to know whether your Arduino board is working properly or not. Next, there are few LEDs available, and these LEDs are named as TX and RX. On your board, you will find two labels, TX that stands for transmit and RX that stands for receive. They appear into two places on the Arduino Uno board. First, at the digital pin 0 and 1 to indicate the pins responsible for serial communication. Second, the TX and RX LED 13. The TX LED flashes with different speed while sending the serial data. The speed of flashing depends on the baud rate used by the board. So this is about the TX transmit and RX receive LEDs available on the board. Finally, let's talk about the flavors of Arduino. Arduino is not a single board, but a family of boards, each with different capabilities. There are three main categories of Arduino boards: entry-level boards, enhanced boards, and IoT boards. Here I have mentioned a few boards like Arduino Uno, Arduino Leonardo, Arduino Lilypad, Arduino Mega, Arduino Nano, Arduino Mini, Arduino Mini Pro, Arduino BT, etc. And the shape and size of these boards are available through the pictures. Let's talk about the broad categories of the Arduino boards like entry-level boards, enhanced boards, and IoT boards. The entry-level boards are the most common and basic Arduino boards, such as the Arduino Uno, the Arduino Nano, and the Arduino Mini. These boards are ideal for beginners like us as they are easy to use, inexpensive, and compatible with most shields and modules available. They use the 80 Mega 328P microcontroller, which has 32 kilobytes of flash memory, 2 KB of SRAM, and 1 KB of EEPROM. They also have 14 digital pins and 6 analog pins, a 16 megahertz crystal, a USB connector, a power jack, a reset button, and an ICP header. The next category of the Arduino boards, enhanced boards. These enhanced boards are more powerful and advanced Arduino boards such as the Arduino Mega, the Arduino Duo, and the Arduino Zero. These boards are suitable for more complex and demanding projects as they have more memory, speed, and functionality. They use different types of microcontrollers such as AT-Mega 2560, SAM3X8E, or SAMD21, which have more flash memory, static RAM, and electrically erasable programmable read-only memory, as well as higher clock speed and resolutions. They also have more digital pins, analog pins, and other features such as USB host, DAC, CAN, and Ethernet. They also have different connectors such as USB Type B, USB Type C, and a micro USB, and different power sources such as 3.3 volt or 5 volt. The third category about the Arduino boards is IoT boards. As the name suggests, IoT boards. These boards are basically used for the purpose of Internet of Things applications. The IoT boards are Arduino boards that are designed for Internet of Things applications such as the Arduino MKR series, the Arduino Nano 33 IoT, and the Arduino Yan. These boards have built-in wireless communication modules such as Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, LoRa, Sigfox, or NB IoT that allows them to connect to the internet and other devices. They also have other features such as crypto chips, sensors, batteries, and SD card slots that make them ideal for the IoT projects. They use different type of microcontrollers such as the SAMD21, the ESP32, or the RP2040, which have different memory, speed, and functionality. They also have different connectors such as USB Type-C or micro USB, and different power sources such as 3.3 volt or 5 volt. These are the main flavors of Arduino, but there are also other types of Arduino boards such as Arduino Nano RP2040, the Arduino Wider 4000, and the Arduino Portenta H7 that have unique features and capabilities. You can find more information about each board on the Arduino website and the documentation. I hope you all will get the idea how the Arduino functions and what features and facilities are available in different boards of Arduino. Dear students, as we know, Arduino, the open source platform for creating interactive electronic projects. In this tutorial, we learned about the basics of Arduino hardware. Now we will talk about its advantages, disadvantages, and some of the recent and future developments in this field. Whether you are a beginner or an expert, Arduino is a great tool to unleash your creativity and innovation. Now we'll talk about the Arduino Shields. There are different type of Arduino Shields available, mentioned here, like TFT, touchscreen, data logger, motor, servo shield, Ethernet shield, audio wave shield, cellular GSM shield, Wi-Fi shield, proto shield, etc. What is this exactly, and why we are using these shields in Arduino? One of the main feature of Arduino is its modularity You can easily add different functionalities to your Arduino board by using shields. Shields are boards that plug into the top of Arduino boards and extends its capabilities. For example, you can use a shield to add a display, a wireless connection, a motor controller, a sensor, or a camera to your Arduino project. There are many types of shields available for Arduino, and you can also make your own custom shields. Shields make it easy to connect and communicate with other devices and components, and they can also reduce the wiring and complexity of your project. Moving ahead, we will now talk about the Arduino-like systems. These are the Arduino-like systems: Cortino, Arduino, Leaf Labs, Maple, Beagleboard, etc. The Arduino is not the only platform for prototyping and making electronic projects. There are other systems that are similar to Arduino but have different features, advantages, and disadvantages. Some of the Arduino-like boards are Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi is a small computer that can run on Linux and other operating systems. It has more processing power and memory than Arduino, and it can also connect to the internet, a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse. However, it is more expensive and complex than Arduino, and it requires more power and cooling. Raspberry Pi is good for projects that need a full operating system, such as media centers, web servers, or gaming console. Similarly, ESP32. This is a microcontroller that has a built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities. It is similar to Arduino, but it has more pins, more memory, and more speed. It also has a lower power consumption and a smaller size than Arduino. ESP32 is good for projects that need wireless connectivity, such as smart home devices, IoT applications, or wearable gadgets. The third Arduino-like system we'll talk about is microbit. This is a small board that is designed for education and learning. It has LED matrix buttons, sensors, and a radio module. It is easy to use and program, and it can also interact with other microbits. However, it has less pins, less memory, and less speed than Arduino. Microbit is good for projects that are simple, fun, and educational, such as games, robots, or musical instruments. Now we'll talk about the advantages and the disadvantages of Arduino. Arduino has many advantages that make it a popular and widely used platform for electronic projects. Some of the advantages are easy to use. Arduino is designed to be user-friendly and accessible. It has a simple and intuitive programming language and a graphical interface that makes it easy to write and upload the code to the board. It also has a large and supportive community that provides tutorials, examples, libraries, and help for beginners and experts alike. The second advantage is flexible and versatile. Arduino is compatible with a wide range of components and devices. You can use Arduino to control LEDs, motors, servos, sensors, displays, cameras, and many more components. You can also use Arduino to communicate with other boards, computers, smartphones, or the internet. Arduino can be used for many different types of projects such as robotics, art, music, gaming, or science. The third major advantage of the Arduino is it is affordable and open source. Arduino is relatively cheap and easy to obtain. You can buy an Arduino board for as low as $10, or you can even make your own Arduino clone. Arduino is also open source, which means that you can modify, share, and improve the hardware and software of Arduino. You can also learn from and contribute to the Arduino community and its resources. Now we'll talk about a few disadvantages of Arduino. As we know, anything is not perfect. Similarly, Arduino is also not perfect. And it has some disadvantages that you should be aware of. Some of the disadvantages are limited resources. Arduino has limited memory, speed, and power compared to other platforms. This means that Arduino may not be able to handle complex or demanding tasks such as image processing, machine learning, or encryption. Arduino may also run on memory or pins if you use too many components or libraries in your project. The second disadvantage of the Arduino is lack of security. Security is an important concern nowadays. Arduino does not have any inbuilt security features such as encryption, authentication, or protection. This means that Arduino may be vulnerable to hacking, tampering, or interference. Arduino may also expose your personal or sensitive data if you use it to connect to the internet or to other devices. You should be careful and responsible when using Arduino for projects that involve security or privacy. The third disadvantage of the Arduino is lack of standardization. Arduino is not a standardized platform, and there are many variations and versions of Arduino boards and shields. This means that Arduino may not be compatible or consistent with other Arduino products or third-party products. You may encounter problems or errors when using different Arduino boards or shields, or when using Arduino with other platforms or systems. You should always check the specifications and compatibility of the products you use with Arduino. So these are some disadvantages of Arduino. Now we'll talk about the recent advancements in Arduino. Arduino is constantly evolving and improving, and there are many recent advancements and innovations in the Arduino ecosystem. Some of the recent advancements are Arduino Nano 33BLE Sense. This is a new Arduino board that has a powerful microcontroller and a rich set of sensors. It can measure temperature, humidity, pressure, light, color, gesture, sound, and motion. It also has a built-in Bluetooth module that allows it to connect to other devices or to the internet. This board is ideal for projects that involve sensing, data analysis, or machine learning. The next board that has come in the market is Arduino IoT Cloud. This is a new service that allows you to create and manage IoT applications using Arduino. You can use Arduino IoT Cloud to connect your Arduino devices to the internet, monitor and control them remotely, and store and visualize your data. You can also use Arduino IoT Cloud to integrate your Arduino devices with other services such as Alexa, Google Assistant, etc. The third recent advancement in Arduino is Arduino Potenta H7. This is a new Arduino board that is designed for high performance and industrial applications. It has a dual core microcontroller that can run Arduino code, Python code, or MicroPython code. It also has a variety of interfaces and connectors that enables it to communicate with other devices and systems. This board is suitable for projects that require speed, reliability, and scalability. Now, we'll talk about the future of Arduino. And we know that Arduino has potential. Because of that, the future of Arduino is very bright. Arduino has a bright and promising future, and there are many possibilities and opportunities for Arduino in the coming years. Some of the future trends and directions for Arduino are use of artificial intelligence. Arduino is exploring the potential of artificial intelligence and machine learning for electronic projects. Arduino is developing new boards, libraries, and tools that enable Arduino users to create and deploy AI modules on their devices. Arduino is also collaborating with other platforms and companies such as TensorFlow, Edge Impulse, or OpenMV to bring AI to the Arduino community. The next point is education and learning. Arduino is committed to promoting education and learning for everyone. Arduino is creating a new product, resources, and programs that make Arduino more accessible and engaging for learners of all ages and backgrounds. Arduino is also partnering with schools, universities, and organizations such as Microsoft, Google, or CERN to support and inspire educators and students with Arduino. The last point that Arduino developers are looking for is sustainability and social impact. Arduino is passionate about making a positive impact on the world with Arduino. Arduino is encouraging and supporting Arduino users to use Arduino for projects that address social, environmental issues such as climate change, health, or accessibility. Arduino is also participating and contributing to global initiatives and movements such as the UN Sustainable Development Goals, the Maker Faire, or the Arduino Day. Now we'll talk about the some facts of Arduino. Arduino was named after a bar in Iberia, Italy, where the founders of Arduino used to meet and work on their projects. The bar was named after Ardin of Iberia, a king of Italy in the 11th century. Arduino has a mascot. Arduino has a mascot called Ardu, a blue humanoid robot with a red heart. Ardu represents the values and spirits of Arduino, such as creativity, curiosity, and community. The third fact about the Arduino is Arduino has a secret message. Even I was not aware about that secret message. Arduino has a secret message hidden in its logo. If you look closely at the logo, you can see the word one, O-N-E, one, in Morse code. This refers to the first Arduino board, the Arduino Uno, which means one in Italian. These are the facts about the Arduino. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. That's all for this video. I hope you learned something new about Arduino, and you are excited to start your own projects with this amazing platform. If you like this video, give it thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching and see you next time.